Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. This is Webster Tarpley here in Washington, D.C. Keep up with everything we talk about here on Tarpley.net, Tarpley.net. If you have not bought and read 9/11 Synthetic Terror Made in USA, you should buy it and read it in the 5th edition. Order it through Tarpley.net and Progressive Press. Surviving the Cataclysm, Your Guide to the Worst Financial Crisis in Human History, is the handbook to understand what to do to fight the current depression. And interest in Obama, the Postmodern Coup, the prophetic book that basically predicted the engagement in Africa, with Obama now moving into Uganda to reach a total of 7 wars, 3 of them in Africa, 1 nearby in Yemen. All of these available at Tarpley.net. Twitter feed is Webster G. Tarpley, Webster G. Tarpley. Now, we're hoping to get a guest on here soon. I don't know whether we have him now or whether in the next segment. I guess it's going to be the next segment. Let's turn to economics. Economic program in particular. This is a critical topic. The 12 tyrants are meeting here in the background. They're holding closed-door meetings. Pelosi has said that the meetings should be in public. The insiders say, well, then the real deliberations will simply move off camera. There was a session this week where the Gang of Six, with that notorious scoundrel, Saxby Chambliss and Mark Warner of Virginia and the rest of these characters, appeared at the 12 tyrants. The Gang of Six want to cut $3.7 trillion over 10 years. The 12 tyrants are charged with cutting $1.2 trillion over 10 years. So the Gang of Six is 3 times worse than the 12 tyrants. But when you have the future of the American people being haggled over by the 12 tyrants of the Super Committee, a Bonapartist and illegal instrument, haggling with the Gang of Six self-appointed austerity ghouls, well, you know, it's Halloween. The Democratic position remains, give us tax increases and we will happily destroy the New Deal entitlements, the Great Society entitlements. Obama has now signed 3 free trade deals this morning. The giant sucking sound. NAFTA was not enough. Now we have South Korea, we have Panama and Colombia, free trade deals. Absolute disaster. Daley, the banker who is the chief of staff of the White House, says that the whole year for Obama was focused around the grand bargain that he tried for with Boehner in the middle of July and didn't get. That the Democrats needed a tax increase as political cover for the genocidal austerity they wanted to impose in any case. All of this extremely grim. Gerald Seib of the Wall Street Journal on National Public Radio this morning says nobody in D.C. knows what to do about this economic situation. Well, guess again, Jerry, because I do. 5-point program sitting right at the top of Tarpley.net. Margaret Hoover, interestingly, the granddaughter of the hated president, is now peddling a book called Individualism, I think American Individualism. Remember Herbert Hoover's campaign, 1932, rugged individualism, and he got the defeat he deserved at the hands of the great Franklin D. Roosevelt. This is now the U.S. Situation, disastrous. In Europe, we're expecting a new round of attacks by S&P against the various sovereign states. The ratings agencies, corrupt and filled with profiteers and intelligence agents, are preparing a downgrade blitz. This is the big perspective for next week. The downgrade blitz, this could actually happen even now, this evening, Friday the 21st of October. The downgrade blitz, this is now the Halloween season. The downgrade blitz is expected to hit France, Spain, Italy, Ireland, Portugal. 1 to 2 notches each. Many of these countries have already been hurt. And the goal of this is obviously to undermine even the existence of the European Financial Stability Fund, which is under heavy attack. Especially the French are freaked out because their AAA rating will soon be a thing of the past. Well, stop pandering to these international bandits. You think General de Gaulle would worry what S&P said about France? He would have his own idea of what France had to do and not be devoted to the party of the foreigners. So you see how far we've fallen. Italian bonds are now at 6%. That means they are 3.96% above the 10-year Bund. So the Italian Buoni del Tesoro, 10-year issue, almost 4% over the Bund. Now, as Ambrose Evans Pritchard, that speaking to for the City of London austerity ghouls, notes, these are the people who want to destroy the euro. The idea here is that when that spread, anybody's bond spread goes more than 4.4% over the German equivalent, at that point, the London derivatives ghouls, LCH ClearNet, will raise the margin requirement on deals involving those bonds, and that is the thing that pitched Greece, Portugal, and Ireland into crisis. So Italy is very close to coming under this special attack by LCH ClearNet. And the point of view about all this stuff is shut these people down, ban them, ban credit default swaps, ban collateralized debt obligations, hit them with the transaction tax, the Wall Street sales tax, the Tobin tax. This is the answer. There's also a desire by these forces to wreck the European Financial Stability Fund itself. Now, this is an institution which is fundamentally misconceived and misbegotten. But what they want to do is to force the expansion of the EFSF using leverage, which means derivatives. In other words, they want to make the EFSF itself into a cancerous mass of kited derivatives. And then when you get a downgrade of France, then at that point the downgrades follow for the EFSF, at which point these countries will be without any bailout tools. Well, so be it. Bailouts, no bailouts. Bailouts do not work, cannot work. The amount of derivatives, bankrupt derivatives, toxic derivatives in the system is so great that they cannot be bailed out. The only thing to do is delete them, shred them. A selective debt moratorium on derivatives would be the answer. A suspension leading to a cancellation of all debts generated by derivatives contracts. They're happy to destroy labor contracts. Let them now destroy derivatives contracts. Greece, again, showing austerity does not work. The society now widely reported to be on the verge of chaos, in other words, of anarchy, with not just demonstrators fighting the police, but fights among the demonstrators and among the reactionary camp themselves. The dollar is now at a record low compared to the yen. All of this indicates that things may get dicey now in the critical time, which is the last decade of October. This is when traditionally the big stuff has happened. We also have to point to the failure of the large Franco-Belgian bank Dexia, which has now been nationalized. The answer with these banks is not to nationalize them in order to hide the bankrupt derivatives. It is to put them through the equivalent of Chapter 11 bankruptcy, in which the judicial authorities wipe out the derivatives debts that they have. So that, I think, is a very grim economic situation. Of course, the final crisis does not have to come in the last 10 days of October, but it may. It can happen in November. The derivatives never sleep. It can happen on Christmas Eve. Don't kid yourself. Back in a minute on World Crisis Radio.